It's the final day of my first toy convention. Today, we talk to Kenner employees who made the toys and the art history. We get to know some of the people in the collecting community, and we go a little overboard and make some big buys today. Finally, we give thoughts on what being at our first toy convention was like. So let's go. We are here at day 3, the final day of the ICCC convention. We have a ton of stuff to grade. Let's go. Day 3 was just as electric and full of energy as day 1 and 2, but today felt a little different. There was an air of last-minute buys and more hustle and bustle in the vendor rooms as people were trying to get last-minute deals and setting their sights on what they needed for their collections. And again, we took advantage of our VIP badge and we got into the venue an hour early. This entire event has been one big lesson in collecting and convention life. And getting autographs has been a lesson in itself. First off, getting to the venue early and getting in line for the artist or celebrity you want is key. But if you have the chance to get VIP, at least at this convention, it allows you to skip the lines and get right in. So here's the part that's new to me. I got an autograph and a signed figure from Ashley Eckstein, and I want to get it graded, but I learned that before I get the figure graded, I first have to get it authenticated. And JSA, who specializes in signature verification, was here at the event. It costs $10 a signature to verify, so we got the carded TVC 202 autograph verified before we headed over to CAS, who's also here at the event. And I've sent figures and mint on cards to CAS, and you have to inspect and package the items yourself and ship to CAS. The big benefit for this show is that all you have to do is bring your items to their booth, fill out the paperwork, and boom, the submission is done. And for this event, we're submitting something that has never been sent in for a grade yet. The Galaxy of Adventures Ahsoka Tano action figure. And as you all know, I have an Ahsoka focus, and I really would love to have this graded and archived. And we are submitting our newly autographed and verified Ahsoka Tano TVC 202, signed by none other than Ashley Eckstein. And for this one, I'm hoping for a 90 grade. We're also getting our mint on card Wicket graded that we got on day 1 in the lobby sales, and hoping for an 80 grade. Also, the blue saber Luke Skywalker in Jedi Knight outfit, and I'm hoping I get an 85 plus on this figure. And from home, we also brought a Paplu to get graded, and I'm hoping to get an 85 on that. And we're sending in a loose Lumat for grading, and I'm hoping for an 85. Also, the Taiwan green hair variant General Maydeen that was gifted to me by Gilster, and I'm hoping for at least an 80. We're also sending in the Luke Skywalker investment fatigues that we bought on day 2 from Rogue 5 Toys, and this is the one that I'm a little iffy on sending in, and I hope I at least get an 80, but looking at the figure, I may get a 75, so let's hope and see what we get. But taking advantage of CAS or any grading company at a show saves time and money with shipping, so if you're going to a Toy Con and they are there, look into that for sure. So being a collector, I not only love the action figures, playsets, vehicles, and ships that make up the vintage Kenner Star Wars universe, but I love the history of these toys and how they came to be. And I was super fortunate to meet up with Jim Swearingen, lead concept designer for Kenner, who was there from the beginning, even before the movies came out.
Back in, 1977 when I was reading the script, I knew it was something special. I didn't know how special. When people started waiting outside theaters to see the best movie in the that 1977, my thought was, we got to do the X-Wing TIE fighter. I'm reading the dogfights and describing the ship-to-ship stuff. I saw the X-Wing and TIE fighter originally as the heroes of the toy line, and the figures came to fill them up.
Right.
And part of the reason, the first figures came out the way they did was we were up against time crunches. It took a year, 52 weeks to get to the shelf. I don't know what it is now, but I've been away from it longer. But that's a year. Even if they started the day I read the script, we wouldn't have product until the next year. That's where there was some hesitancy by the management. It's like, they're going to last that long? Because I don't think any movie had lasted as long as Star Wars did. First run, it was over the first year. It was like uncalled for.
Yeah.
It was like, that was amazing.
How many iterations did you have to go through and prototype did you have to go through to get to that one manufacturer run?
Yeah, well, the first prototypes, I did some renderings first. We kind of started selling things in, and then I kit bashed the figures, the original ones, with Adventure People from Fisher Brothers.
Right.
But I was doing my X-Acto knife and body buddy sculpting to kind of create a 3D visual of the figures. And then I worked with the model shop producing the layout drawings that produced the X-Wing and TIE Fighter. I worked in what they call preliminary design. So we would get things to a point where it was conceptually viable. And we'd get some preliminary costing. We'd kind of figure out the basics, the articulation and things like that. So the figures, making the X-Wings open and close, with the help of the engineers and model makers. And then that stuff got turned over to production design people. But I got to do just the fun stuff. I'd rough it out and then hand it over to them to solve any problems. So I got to meet all the people. I tell people I got to go when Boba Fett, we were going to do it as a sequel. It came back into preliminary design. I got to go out to California, take the first pictures of Boba Fett, and then come back and build a prototype. The community that it's built is just, it's indescribable. Yeah. There was a little girl here yesterday in her costume, and her dad said she wanted to meet me. She didn't care about the other things. She wanted me, and she wanted the actor, Ahsoka.
You had the best job on the face of this earth.
I agree. I did. I've had wonderful experiences in the early days of Star Wars.
Yeah. It was a pleasure for me to meet you.
Well, it was nice meeting you.
Thank you very much, sir. I really appreciate this.
It was so great to meet Jim Swearingen and walk away with an autographed X-Wing. When you look at the iconic box art, the catalogs, and the advertising from the Star Wars Kenner toys, you get a sense of nostalgia that brings back so many positive memories. And the person you have to thank for all that is Kim Simmons, photographer who was hired by Kenner to create some of the most memorable toy photography.
But I literally walked in the door and I started shooting right away. I mean, my first shot was the Darth Vader insert. But a lot of times I didn't have anything to look at. I'm looking at one right now, it's the Rancor monster. But they told me, well, think a cave. Okay. And then we'll try to get you some information, but they never did till later. So literally that's when I go in there. I needed a cardboard box about this big. And I started cutting away what I needed to. And I brought rocks from home that I just grabbed. Then it was like, okay, I've got to light this thing. It's this deep. We have to be creative. Right. If we don't see something's not just there, we have to figure a way to do it.
What's your favorite scene that you shot?
That would be the hot battle scene.
The hot battle scene?
Yeah, that's the hot battle scene.
The history of these figures is so important, and to get to meet and talk to these two icons of toy history was amazing, and one of the top highlights of this convention. And to understand this hobby completely, understanding the stories of how they came to be is so important. And I was so fortunate to get Kim to sign his book for me. On a future episode, we're gonna hear from the engineers and toy designers who gave some of the most iconic figures, play sets, and vehicles life. One of the best parts of coming to a convention like this is meeting people we've either bought items from, formed friendships with, or just enjoyed their posts and seeing their collections online. I bought a Jabba playset and boxed Rancor monster from Eric, who's a member of the 501st. What brings you to collecting and what brings you
to the ICCC?
It's just been the best community of collectors that I've ever found. I came last year, so this is my second year.
Right.
It's more than just the toys. It's connecting with other people that love the toys and putting names with faces and all that from the...
Yeah, that's why I wanted to meet you, was because, you know, like I said, you're part of the reason why I got so much joy out of that Jabba. It was when I opened it, I was a 6-year-old kid. That's why I kind of wanted to come, was to say, I want to meet the people who sold me this stuff.
That's what makes it takes
That's
the
cool.
collecting to a whole new level, is passing on that joy and seeing that they were just as excited to get it as you were when you got it.
Yeah.
And I mean, where else do you get that?
Right.
You know?
We were also honored to meet Kirk Keck. He runs a show called Mystery Mail Call on the Imperial Commissary's Facebook group. His show is all about positivity and bringing the community together. I've never won on the show, but if you want to be a part of an amazing collecting community, join the Imperial Commissary, look for the Mystery Mail Call, and have some fun. All I ask is that you respect and follow the group rules, and read all rules before you ask to join.
We're on our 98th Mystery Mail Call right now, so we've given away toys 98 times every week. But there was so much negative in the world. We wanted to make somebody smile, make them happy, you know, give them something to look forward to, and it's grown. It's a super fun time.
Well, that's why I watch every week, because of the tagline, not the tagline, but the message that you give at the end of each show. Is
Be nice, and just be nice to people. If you've unfriended them, refriend them. If you've blocked them, unblock them. Life is too short to be upset, and that's the message we try to put across. Because come on, it's just toys, you know. There's so much bad in the world. Let's do something good.
And please visit my links below in the description. There's a link down there for my merch store where you can get your own Padawan collector gear. And yes, there's even Rami and Jaws gear. And there's also links for collecting supplies that you may need for your journey. When you buy and click using those links, it supports the channel, so thank you for that. On day 1 and 2, we did buy some awesome items. But on day 3, I went a little crazy and I got some items that I had been eyeing the entire convention. I was on the hunt for Ahsoka items, and there are about 9 Ahsoka Funko Pops that I have to get. So I decided to get a Funko for $20. It's the Ahsoka Tano 268 from her Clone Wars appearance. I was thinking about getting this autographed by Ashley and then setting that in for grading, but time was ticking on day 3 and I had a lot of hunting to do, so no autograph for this one. I was bummed, but let's check this off our list and go hunting. One thing that caught my eye was this ruined Ahsoka Tano TVC 102 re-release of her Clone Wars appearance. It was being sold for $24, but since the card was so bent and the bubble was damaged, I asked for it for $15 and the seller accepted. Last minute deals. If you've seen my series called The Ahsoka Chronicles, you know that I have this figure already carded. But I have never opened a carded figure. I mean, not since the mid-80s when I was a kid. For modern, I'm an inbox collector. So what I'm gonna do is open this on the next episode of the Ahsoka Chronicles, so don't miss that. But let's cross this off our list as well. We also bought a bunch of beater figures for the kids. I would one day love to have a complete collection of beater figures for them, and when I do say them, I do mean me. And Mrs. Padawan got some carded figures for the younglings as well. While I was at that booth, I did see a few items that I would love to get, and we may head back there to see. It was a graded yak face, one of our grails on this journey. And speaking of grails, check out this 1987 graded glasslight Vlix being sold for, yes, $15,000. Now, this is a very rare and only produced in the Brazilian market, so distribution was very limited. The other thing that I love and haven't gotten into yet are the mini rigs. And since I have a Millennium Falcon that I bought at a charity auction, I wanted to have a diorama with it. And what better companion for a Falcon diorama than Chewie using his vehicle maintenance energizer? So I went to buy it from a guy that I have bought many figures from online, Ryan L. Not only did he sell me the Energizer in a beautiful box that came with the instructions and a great example of the rig, we picked that up for $70. And we also picked up a better than beater Chewie to operate the Energizer. It was really cool to meet Ryan in person and meet his awesome fiancée. Now, there's a few stickers that are peeling off, so this is a question for you vintage purists out there. Is it okay to apply a modern glue adhesive to the stickers to make them lay flush, or is there a glue that you prefer? Let me know down in the comments. So let's place the Energizer on our list in our boxed items, and I would love to get an acrylic to house the box in. And as you all know, I'm collecting the Return of the Jedi mint on cards, and Ryan also had a great looking R2-D2 with Censorscope 77A card back. Now, it's not grade worthy, and I assume if I was to get it graded, it would get a 60 or a 65, 70 at best, but I'm not worried about getting most of these graded yet. So I asked if I could pick that up for a very reasonable $165. So let's mark that off our list as well. Now, one figure that I did have as a kid, but now in my collection, only the trench coat remains, is, yes, the Han Solo in trench coat. So we were able to get a very nice and grade-worthy example of Han for $65. Now this one isn't for a grade, but it's for our display case. And we're gonna go over this figure in depth in a future episode, but let's cross this off our list for now. And something that I've really been eyeing and something that I used to have when I was a kid is a boxed turret and Probot playset. And this was a really hard one to pass up to buy because there was a table that was being ran by another collector that we were stoked to meet in person, Robin Bakra. She had an amazing complete box Voltron for sale for $450. Now, that is definitely not on our collecting run, but I love Voltron. So after doing a couple laps around the sales floor and a couple of pep talks from Mrs. Padawan, who told me to stay on target, I decided to go on a more vintage Star Wars path, and I decided to be reunited with my turret and Probot playset. This set came in a gorgeous box and comes with a gorgeous example of the playset, exactly as I remember it as a kid, and also nostalgia galore from when I was a kid. Just removing the items from the box, amazing. And we're gonna go over this playset in depth in a future episode and list off my top 10 playsets. And here's all the items we got besides the one that we sent off for a grade or the things that we got for the younglings. What an amazing experience. And honestly, there was way too much footage and way too many interviews to add into just 3 episodes. So we're gonna be putting bonus content on future episodes. So let's place these items in our display case and shelves. First, the Paplu coin that we got from Nilda and Joey from Appetite for Collectibles and their shop way back when. They also gave us this gorgeous prune face, and I'm stoked to place this in our case. We also got the Han Solo in trench coat from Ryan L. And we're able to bring our childhood Tebow and place the accessories that we got on him to finally place in our collector displays case. And to get a case like mine, visit the links in the description, and in a future episode, I'll be giving a case just like this away. So stay tuned for that. And we're really starting to chip away at our Return of the Jedi figures. But apart from getting Ashley Eckstein's autograph, to meeting the actors that I've seen on the screen for years, and people who've had a part in shaping my childhood and imagination, I think the best thing that I'm gonna take away was the energy, the memories, and getting to experience being a part of the toy community live and in person. And as a new collector and being new to this community, it was so rad to see all of you come together and to celebrate this hobby. and come together as friends, some who met for the first time. And I learned so much. I asked a billion questions, and I was in awe as I saw more seasoned collectors do their thing, make their deals, and come away with some grail-like items that I could only dream of having one day. And to Michael Havens and all of the staff, volunteers, security, hotel crew, food and beverage, thanks for putting on such a great event. And thank you for spending months and months to plan this and make it such a great experience. It was so awesome just to be there in the moment, to be able to meet people that I've been buying from, learning from, and a fan of for years. I was a kid for 3 days, and I can't wait to go back. And I can't wait to visit my next toy convention and come back next year to the ICCC. So if you found this video interesting, please hit that like button. It does support the channel. And if you want to see more Star Wars collecting content from me, please consider subscribing to the channel. And also hit that notification bell so you know when episodes go live. I post videos every Sunday and sometimes bonus videos on Wednesdays. And as always, my friends, thank you, and I will see you next time. If you're new to the channel, check out the welcome video, or just check out the next episode. And please subscribe if you want to follow the journey. And remember, there is no shame in being a Padawan.